Hey everybody, this is TJR.
And this is Superfan.
And we're going to reveal our deep, dark secret to you today. We, back in November, went on a trip to Disney World. And we went during COVID.
And we survived.
And we survived, yes.
And we didn't get sick.
And we are not anti-maskers. And we are very serious about COVID. We take it very seriously.
Yes, we do.
But we went on a trip. Let's talk about our motivation.
Well, we had this vacation time booked. We had 2 trips planned this year. We were supposed to go to Rome in
the spring.
And then 2 weeks before we left, we were to leave. We were going to Rome. It was a hot spot. We thought, okay, well, we'll go somewhere else where it's not so bad. We picked Barcelona.
And that became a hot spot.
That was the next big hot spot. So,
and then all travel was, I think they pretty much, well, I don't know if they stopped all travel, but we basically, the lockdowns happened here, and we said, okay, that's it.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere.
We're canceling all of this. And you're a big Disney fan.
Yes,
and
I am.
You watch travel bloggers a lot.
Yes, I do.
After you watched a number of videos on people who went to Florida to see how well and safely they were running it, you showed me the same videos, and we agreed this is the safest trip we could go on.
Yeah.
Do you still feel that way?
Yes, I do.
And so do I.
Part of it, too, was you came to me and said, what are we going to do with this vacation time that I have? Mm-hmm. Do we want to go somewhere? Mm-hmm. And because it was kind of what we had planned for our second trip, even though we really hadn't started planning it at all at the point that everything shut down, I went and looked at airfares.
That's right.
And that was what kind of triggered it. And
you found an amazing deal. Do we want to say how much?
Yeah, why not?
How much was it?
$77 for a nonstop flight to Florida.
Yeah. Per ticket, right?
Orlando,
yeah.
Per ticket.
And it was so cheap we bought a third seat.
Yeah, we looked at United and we looked at Delta. Delta was keeping the third seat empty, but it was $400 a ticket. United was not, but it was
not keeping the
third seat empty.
Yeah.
But it was $77 a ticket.
So we bought 3 seats.
So we bought 3 seats for less than it would have cost us to fly on United.
Yeah, and that way we didn't have to sit with a stranger.
We didn't have to sit with a stranger. We felt comfortably distanced. Mm-hmm. It was also very nice to have that extra seat. And
yeah, for room.
Yeah, just to have that extra room.
Yeah.
To spread out a little bit.
Yeah. So as we looked at all the possibilities, we looked at how Disney World was being run, and it seemed like it was being run very safe. And these were reports from very reliable sources. And we'll talk more about the actual experience there later.
Yes.
But what we saw was that they were running it very safe. We studied the airlines. We studied the air filtration systems. It all seemed like it was reasonably safe to go on a plane so long as you kept your mask on.
Yeah.
Except to eat and drink, keep your mask on.
Yeah.
And it was only a 6-hour flight, I think, roughly.
Yeah.
Approximately, give or take.
Yeah.
We figured the most Wild Westy part of it would be getting on board the plane and getting off the plane.
Yeah. And that was
the
what
case.
Happened.
That was exactly the case of what happened.
Yeah.
So we
did have a friend who drove us to
there.
The airport.
And we paid him like he was an Uber driver for doing it, because we would have otherwise paid an Uber driver. And we told our friend we'd rather pay you, since you don't have work right now, to be our Uber driver up there. And so we did that. Yeah, we weren't looking for handouts here. So we decided it was safe. We booked the trip, and our friend drove us up there. And so we both agree the riskiest part was just waiting for the plane to get on.
Yes.
And then waiting to get off.
Yeah.
Or getting off the plane and making our way to the resort.
Getting off the plane and getting to the resort. And that ended up being a little bit more complicated given the fact that our flight was changed a couple weeks before we left.
By the airline.
By the airline. They rerouted us through New Jersey.
Which we didn't want to do.
Which, added a stop. We didn't want to take that risk. we wanted the nonstop. That was part of the reason we scheduled it. So we ended up leaving. We were supposed to leave it. Our flight was supposed to be a red eye, getting us there at 6 a.m. We ended up taking a much earlier flight that got us there at about 6 p.m. And actually our flight ended up arriving an hour early.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. That was nice.
So we had to spend a night in a hotel we weren't expecting, which we booked once we knew we had to do this.
And even there, we felt completely safe and comfortable. We were the only people around, really, when we checked in.
Yeah. Let's talk about, before we get into that, let's talk about just about the flight itself and getting off the plane. So once we got to once our friend dropped us off, then it was a bit Wild Westy.
Yeah.
Most people were wearing masks. It was harder to distance. Once we got through security, we do have TSA pre-check, which helped a lot. Yes. Highly recommended. If you've never had it, gets you through security faster and easier.
Much.
Yeah. There's a fee for that, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah, it's
$100 a person.
For 4 years, is it?
4 years, yeah, per person. And we had a special credit card that actually waives one of those fees every 4 years. So we only had to pay for one, basically.
Yeah.
That's what we had to do.
So it was that's definitely something to check out if you travel a reasonable amount.
So the main thing was just in the lobby. We found the lobby to be very Wild Westy.
Yeah,
some people were wearing masks, some people were not wearing masks.
People were
crowding.
Talking.
So what we did is just literally around the corner was another waiting area that had no incoming flights. We waited there. We ate there.
With a couple pilots.
Pilots, and all of us very distanced.
They were 20 feet away.
Yeah, all of them very distanced. And we just waited till we heard them call that our flight was ready. We walked over and got in line.
Yeah.
So we avoided all that. There was the waiting in line, which they did their best to try to distance us, but people were not always cooperative.
Yeah.
People were being the way people are. We got on the plane. I would say the plane ride was pretty uneventful, which is good.
Totally.
Yeah. We watched some movies.
Stayed in our seats,
except unless we had to use the restroom.
I didn't.
And I did. But anyways, though, that was probably more information than anybody needed. And but
we
otherwise,
ate our snacks, but we just lifted our mask for a moment, slipped the food in, took a sip of water.
Yeah, and then just put our mask back down. Yeah, we did not think that just because we had a food or drink in our hand that suddenly we're protected, the way some people act.
Yeah.
No, we lifted up our mask, took a bite, put the mask down. So we were very careful the whole time. Plane ride was uneventful, which is great. We just watched some movies. Yeah. Then we got there, and then there was getting off the plane, which...
That was a little more Wild Westy than getting on.
I think so.
Everybody just wanted off, and we waited until everybody left, and then we got off.
So that we could get off without having to bump into a bunch of people. We got off. We found, we had to get to our rental car, which was a hassle. I don't know if we want to get into that whole story. I don't think it's that relevant. We want to talk about... I think just dealing with COVID and traveling.
Yeah. Although I do have to say, don't rent from Fox rental cars.
Okay, there you go. That's how good your experience was.
Yeah.
That you feel the need to say
They have fantastic rates, but because of our change of flight...
They wouldn't let us add a day.
Even though it was a COVID cancellation and they said that they covered COVID cancellations when I booked, they changed their rules.
They made you rebuy the whole time period again, and they didn't give you the rate they'd given you previously, and it was a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
So...
It was, yeah.
Yeah. But, okay, enough said about that. But, yeah, so we... once we got into our car, once we had our rental car, then we began to have a pretty good time. We went to our hotel.
We went... Yeah, it was just a Best Western.
It was just for the night.
Yeah, it was just for the night. But I wouldn't have a problem staying at the hotel again. No,
they handled COVID really well. They kept things very safe, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was very quiet. There weren't a lot of people there, which is good.
Because of COVID, there weren't a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just spent the night there. And since the other videos we're going to do are going to talk about the parks, we will just briefly talk about the fact that we had this day, now that we weren't planning, where we would not be at any of the parks. Yeah. And we just simply checked out a few local things
Yes.
that we want to talk about and share and recommend.
Yeah. We did go to the outlets. We went to the Disney outlet on Vineland. We didn't make it to the other one, but I don't think we needed to.
No.
It was super easy experience. Same kind of mobile check-in they have here at Downtown Disney. To the point that I started off my number and said my number, and he goes, "Oh, you're a Cappy." He had my information in there from the times that I did mobile here
In
at
California.
Downtown Disney.
Wow. Okay, so that's efficient.
Great experience there. Found some really good deals. Got some fun things.
We should mention you're a Disney shopper. You like shopping for that stuff. I'm not so much into it, but you had a good experience.
Well, you got a few things.
I got a hat, which I was going to need.
That you needed.
I was going to need for out there because it was pretty warm when we were there. Even though it was November here in Southern California, it was very warm there. And
80s. I would say.
But that day when we left the hotel, we went to this amazing little place.
We went to
Gideon's, yes, where they make these amazing cookies, and these cookies are about $5.99 each, I think.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
They're about what, a half pound?
They're a half pound.
Yeah, and they've got some amazing flavors. These are cookies that you don't eat by yourself. You know, you share them and you eat them together. And we will. I'm going to show you some pictures.
We've got
of them
some
here.
pictures. We'll share them with you. We'll also link to them. And another thing to mention is that they have since opened at Disney Springs.
Yeah, they're there too now, which we also went to that same day.
Yes, we did.
And we got to experience some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it was. Disney Springs is the
equivalent
of Downtown Disney that we have here in Southern California.
Only 3 times larger.
Yeah, it's huge.
And so that
the variety of shopping that they have.
Yep. If you're into that sort of thing.
And the co-op was really fun because that's something that we don't have here. It's kind of like Wonderground Gallery, but far bigger. They also kind of have their dress shop in there, but they have another separate location. But things that we don't have here. There were a few things, and that's going to be a recurring theme because Disney World is not Disneyland Resort.
And one of the things that they have there in Florida, they had it at Disney Springs, but they have it there in Florida, which we don't have here, is Joffrey's Coffee.
Yes,
and we're going to talk more about Joffrey's Coffee when we talk about Animal Kingdom. Because while we did experience Joffrey's there, my real amazing experience with Joffrey's was at Animal Kingdom, which we'll talk about then. I want to save that story because it's a really great story. It's a story where I get my ass kicked, and we'll talk about that.
I didn't do it.
You didn't do it. You didn't do it. We'll talk about it though. And but anyways, though, Joffrey's was the thing. But the other great thing I think we'll both agree on about Disney Springs is we ate at Wine Bar George.
Yes, we did.
We sure did. And this was an amazing place. Now, this place is not cheap.
No, it's not.
It's not something you do all the time. But it's also not like you're walking into some fancy, high-end, stuffy place at all.
It's very comfortable,
The mood is very comfortable and casual. The food is amazingly, amazingly well prepared. It is an eating experience.
Yeah.
And for that reason, it is expensive.
But worth
not
every
a king's
penny.
ransom, but it's expensive.
Worth every penny. I would do it.
Penny. I agree. It was.
I would do it again in a heartbeat. But you're more frugal on the fact that you say that speaks volumes.
I'm much more frugal when it comes to this sort of thing. But I'll admit it was very good. It's not something you're going to do all the time.
You're more a sustenance eater than an enjoyment eater.
But it's something you might do once or twice a year at most.
Hopefully we can.
Yeah, hopefully we can. Maybe they'll open one out here. But I think that was the highlight of Disney Springs, was eating there.
Yes.
That was a true highlight.
That was a highlight.
And what were some of the things we had there? Because we've got pictures.
We got the Saganaki on fire.
Mm-hmm. Describe what that is. Insert film here.
Yeah. It's a They bring you a slab of cheese. They pour alcohol on it. They take a lighter and set it on fire.
Yeah.
So it melts and it gets beautiful and bubbly and yummy. And enough said.
And I'm tasting it all over again, listening to you describe it.
It was fabulous.
It was amazing. And what else did we have there? Can you remember?
We had meatballs, which were yummy.
They were amazing.
Really, really good. The other thing, and I think this is probably my favorite thing, although I like the cheese an awfully lot.
There was a pork dish.
We got the pork pluma.
That's right.
Which one of the vloggers that I watched, Tim Tracker, said that it's the best pork dish he's ever eaten, and I agree. I don't know about you, but
I would agree too. Just to give everybody an idea, do you think you can remember, say just the pork?
It was Iberico pork.
Yeah. Do you remember how much it was approximately? Just that plate.
I want to say it was like $20.
Okay. And we have to understand it's a small plate.
These are small plates,
They're like
tapas.
tapas. And we shared every plate we got.
Yeah. The meatballs came with 3 meatballs, and it had a polenta.
Yes, which was unbelievably good too.
It was super good, and then nice marinara sauce on it.
Yeah.
The saganaki just came with the cheese and the
bread to eat it with, yeah.
And that's all it needed. It was fabulous.
Was it just those 3 things we had?
Yeah, we just had those 3.
And you had alcohol and I had iced tea.
Yes.
And but those little plates.
But they are also known for their wine. They have a
That's the name.
Yeah.
Which we didn't have. Because we're not into wine.
George, and I cannot remember his name. Forgive me, his last name. But he is a sommelier. He worked at the Contemporary. I think at the I can't remember, at California Grill. I think at the Contemporary. Mm-hmm. Prior to opening this restaurant at Disney Springs, and so one of the things is you could ask your server, and they are very well versed in wine and the beverages, your alcohol options and pairings to go with your meal. Mm-hmm. So
referring to the wines, yeah, and it's important that people know that. And I just want to stress again, because I said it's very expensive. $20 is not expensive for a nice dinner, in my opinion. But that was just a small plate.
That was a small plate. That was one of 3 plates.
3 plates that we had, and we shared each one.
Yeah, and this was a lunch too, so
less expensive than dinner.
Well, no, I think the prices are probably about the same,
okay.
But we didn't eat as much, and it wasn't a super heavy meal.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a super heavy meal. We didn't bother. We didn't have dessert there, but we didn't need to.
No.
We didn't need to.
I had other plans.
Yeah. There were certainly other places you could go for dessert.
Yes, and we did.
But Wine Bar George, like I said, I think,
highly recommended.
If you order alcohol, it's going to be more expensive.
Yes.
If you go without alcohol, it's going to be less expensive. But even still, like I said, they're little plates, but they're amazingly well prepared. Highly recommended.
They also do mocktails, which are, I would rather have the alcohol, but
yeah, I know.
Everybody's different.
I know you would.
But that is something that you can, you can enjoy those as well. They are known for doing those things as well. And
so there was that. That was a real thing about Disney Springs.
Yes.
And there was also, I think the other real highlight was the ganachery.
The ganachery,
which
yes.
is think of like a Godiva chocolate place, but like way better.
Think about a little mom and pop
European chocolate shop. Yeah, you compared it to European chocolate.
Yeah, it's very good chocolate. As a matter of fact, we still have some.
We do still have some,
and we're working our way slowly through it.
You got some homemade s'mores.
They do house-made s'mores where they
make the marshmallow there.
They have the chocolate.
They make the graham cracker there.
They make
the chocolate there.
Yes.
And then they set it on fire with a torch.
That's the theme of the evening, I guess.
Yeah, torches. And those
setting food on fire.
Those were amazing.
Yeah, it was fabulous. It was really good.
A couple times during our trip, we went back there.
Yeah.
And tried different things. We tried a chocolate piñata.
Well, we picked that up that night.
Oh, okay, it was that night. Okay, my memory
was the first night, but we did go back.
But we spent a week eating it.
Yes.
Because it's got a lot of stuff in it.
Yes.
And it's about the size of a chocolate Easter bunny.
Yeah, it's comparable to your chocolate Easter bunny, but your traditional chocolate Easter bunny is hollow on the inside.
This is not.
This is not.
It has all kinds of nice chocolates inside.
More of those house-made marshmallows dipped in chocolate.
Yeah. All kinds of good stuff.
Yeah. It's really fun.
So we basically, once we got to, which we'll talk more about once we got to our hotel, we spent the week snacking on that throughout the week.
Yes.
With that. So the ganachery was the other highlight of that. I think the only other highlight I can think of is those cars that are actually boats.
The Amphicar. Yes.
Which you can get a ride on. We didn't do it.
No, we did not.
We watched other people do it.
And that was fun. And it didn't cost $120.
And it didn't cost us $120 to go on it. Yeah, which is what it costs.
Yeah. And, given the right situation, I would do it. Mm-hmm. As a thing you do once.
Given the right situation. But this was not the right situation.
No.
And there were better things to spend our money on. There's better things to spend $120 on while we're there.
Yes, but they do give you a nice picture.
Yes, that's true. Okay, well, kudos. I thought that was only if you're a Disney Pass holder.
Well, no, actually, if you're a Disney Pass holder or if you purchase the photo option with your tickets.
With your ticket, okay, they'll give you a picture.
Then they'll give you, that is included in the photo pass.
Okay.
That's the word I was looking for.
Okay. So I think we might be running out of time. How are we doing?
We're okay.
Okay. So, we just wanted to talk about the flight. We just want to talk about Disney Springs and the day before we went to the parks because we ended up getting this day that we weren't expecting.
Yeah.
And so we filled it with that.
Oh, we forgot about breakfast when we went to Gideon's. We also got a breakfast at a fabulous little place that was in the same
exact court.
Kind of, it's kind of like a gourmet food court. The area that Gideon's is in.
Yeah. You're right. We had these amazing breakfast sandwiches that looked like they would be small, and they were, but they were incredibly filling.
Yeah, really.
With the best bacon I think I've ever tasted.
Yeah.
Can we remember the name of them right now? We don't have to because we can put a picture up.
We will put a picture up. I can't remember what they were called, but...
Here, let's pause, and you'll remember.
It's called Farm and House.
Thank you for looking that up. And yes, very delicious. More expensive than you might be used to, but not overly expensive, but well worth it.
Yeah. It was $20 for the two sandwiches.
So they were $10 each.
They were $10 each. And then I had avocado added to yours. And we got our coffees elsewhere.
Yeah, you got a mocha and I got a green tea. But yeah.
Definitely worth it. I will happily pay $10.
I'll happily pay $10 for that breakfast sandwich again. Can't do it every day, but definitely once in a while. And even though it looked like a tiny sandwich, it was incredibly filling.
Really hearty.
Very hearty. Yeah, it's like I said, you got your $10 worth with that.
Yeah.
And once again, some of the best bacon I've ever had. One last thing we want to talk about.
Yeah. Just kind of the story of Gideon's because...
it's a great story.
It is. They started out, I want to say 6-8 years ago, with $800 and a space in the East End Market. He purchased what he thought was an antique cookbook published in 1898. To his surprise, in the margins, there were filled notes and doodles from what appeared to be a young boy. They have a deep backstory on this one, whose name was Gideon. There were recipes and things written in those margins, and they decided to open this bake shop with their $800 budget. And this was in October of 2016. They have been written up as having the best cookies in Orlando, in Florida, in the United States, and on the planet.
And after trying them, I would say that's
Pretty justified.
Pretty justified, yeah.
I haven't tasted better.
Me neither.
But yeah, super fantastic.
But they started the business with $800.
$800. They have now opened a store in
Disney Springs. Yeah. Which can't be cheap to do.
They sell out of cookies every day. There was one location, part of the reason that they opened at Disney Springs. One of the restaurants there would get a dozen of their chocolate chip cookies, and within 10 minutes, they would get them at like noon, and within 10 minutes, they were gone every day.
Yeah.
They don't do day old because they sell out.
And it sounds like they've been selling out every day since they opened.
New York Times, must visit in Orlando. Best cookies ever, the Boston Globe. They also do cakes, which are supposed to be fantastic. We didn't try those.
No. But that's okay.
Yet.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they'll open one out here in Southern California. Maybe downtown Disney will get one.
We can hope.
We can hope.
Yeah.
We're kind of at time now. And that was our plane trip, which, once again, we did as safely as we could. I think we were very successful at being safe.
Well, we didn't get sick, and we didn't get anybody else sick.
That's right. The next day we will go to the parks. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next video. Oh, and as we talk about this stuff, we did this in November. It's January as we record this. And so just so you know where we're coming from as far as memory. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. We hope you all stay safe and healthy. Be sure to click like, click subscribe, and smash the bell notification icon so you can know when we release the next video. Take care, everybody.